Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. HTM here, and in this video we are counting down my top 5 favorite builds for soloing currently in the Elder Scrolls Online. This most recent update for ESO has changed so much of the base game, whether it's skills, passives, and especially sets. Almost every set in the game has changed now, with hybrid stats being enabled. Plus we have some great new sets and updated sets as well. Basically, you now have more options than ever when it comes to building your character in ESO, and that is a good thing, especially when it comes to playing solo. So I thought I would take a moment to break down my top 5 favorite builds in this current patch. I'll let you know what's changed, what stayed the same, and why I like these 5 builds more than any of the rest. We've got a lot to cover in this video, so let's jump right into it. Number 5 on our list is going to be the solo Dragonknight, but with a bit of a unique twist. We're doing a hybrid Dragonknight this patch called the Firebrand. Now, believe it or not, hybrid builds in ESO are now better than ever, especially after Update 32. In case you missed this, Update 32 and the Deadlands DLC is heavily focused on hybridizing in ESO, basically improving the viability of hybrid builds for solo and even group play, with the changes to item set stats now giving you combined weapon and spell damage, combined crit chance, and even combined penetration. Hybrid builds in ESO have much better stats than they have ever had before. Case in point would be the hybrid Dragonknight, which is probably my favorite way to play a hybrid right now. Not only do you have the mixed elemental damage types of poison damage combined with flame damage, you also have some of the strongest class skills in the game. Noxious Breath provides great burst damage and an armor debuff. Burning Embers provides a massive fire dot and a burst heal. You've got Cauterize for healing over time if you need it. You have fantastic armor and damage self buffs, and you have multiple options for spammables, meaning you can run one stamina DPS skill and one Magicka DPS skill at the same time if you want, and switch in between depending on which resource you have the most of. My favorite option for this is combining Dizzying Swing, which naturally sets enemies off balance, with Flame Lash that does additional damage and healing against off-balance targets. Now, in terms of sets on this build, I definitely like to play up the fire theme of the Dragonknight using sets like Burning Spellweave, Shadow of the Red Mountain, or Grothdar. And you can also make use of the build's high uptime on the off-balance debuff with a set like Armor of Truth. Basically, if you're looking for a powerful build option and want to challenge yourself in new ways with a hybrid approach, the Dragonknight is going to be amazing for that. I'll have a link to the full build video and written guide down below in the description if you want to check this out. Number 4 on our list of the top solo builds for ESO is going to be the Magicka Warden. Now, there are many great Magicka Warden builds out there. We have a few on this channel which I love to play, but my absolute favorite has to be my Frost Staff-focused XP grind build called Ice Storm. This build is 100% focused on grinding XP and champion points in ESO, which means that it excels at killing large packs of enemies quickly and efficiently. The Magicka Warden class is fantastic for this type of build. We have unique buffs to frost damage and critical damage, as well as powerful AoEs and frost spells that perfectly fit the Frost Mage theme. And this build is so powerful that you can simplify it down to one skill bar with mostly passive skills and still do tons of damage thanks to spamming the Destruction Staff skill, Unstable Wall of Frost. Every time you cast this ability, you cause a big burst of ice shards that do massive AoE damage and absolutely rip through groups of enemies. Now, in terms of sets on the Ice Storm build, we'll want to pick sets that focus on both frost damage and critical damage. To buff our frost damage, the Frostbite set is actually a really great choice. Not only is this set perfect for an Ice Mage style build, but it's also an overland set, so it's extremely easy to get. You can either farm it yourself from the Blackwood zone or buy it on guild traders. Then for our second set, I recommend a set focused more on critical chance, either Mother Sorrow, which again is easily farmed or bought on guild traders. Or if you want to up the damage even more, you could use something like Medusa for the passive minor force. And finally, for the monster set, Iceheart just fits the theme of this build so perfectly. Plus it does great damage and gives you a free damage shield for better defense. All in all, this build is extremely fun to play, and if you're looking to grind some XP fast, then this is definitely the build for you. Number 3 on our list is going to be a stamina build, and one of my favorites, that of course being the Stamina Sorcerer. I love the Stamsorc for its amazing speed, passive healing, and great all-around stats. This particular build called Perfect Storm takes all of those amazing perks of the Stamina Sorcerer and throws in a ton of crit chance and dot damage to make for the ultimate easy mode stamina build Perfect for solo gameplay in ESO and especially for solo arenas like Maelstrom or Vatashran. I really like how this build works. Basically, you create a literal cyclone of dot damage down on the ground with skills like Hurricane from the Sorcerer class, Stampede from the two-handed skill line, Endless Hail from the bow, and Caltrops. Then you just pull enemies into that storm using the Fighters Guild ability Silver Leash, and watch those enemies literally disintegrate in front of you. This build is just so much fun, and it's very effective. Now, obviously, dot abilities will be the main focus on this build, so a dot focus set, something like Deadly Strike, is going to be ideal for buffing your main type of damage. Now, I also love buffing up the critical chance on the Stamina Sorcerer for even bigger damage numbers, and also guaranteed healing from the critical surge skill. So a set like Leviathan is obviously a great choice for this. And for the Monster Helm, you can opt for even more damage with something maybe like Balorg, or better defense again with Iceheart. And by the way, all the builds we're listing today have updated guides over on our website, that's hacktheminotaur.com. Some have updated build videos as well, so be sure to check out the description underneath this video for all those links. This brings us to the number 2 solo build on our list, the Magicka Sorcerer. And let me just say here that there are many ways to play a Magicka Sorcerer in ESO, whether you want to go with a pure damage focus or just stack damage shields. You could go with a full zoo build if you want with tons of pets. There are honestly countless ways to play this class, but one of my favorites that I was able to put together was the no heals, almost unkillable Magicka Sorcerer build called Infinity. This setup has nearly maxed out resists, heavy armor, and over 8,000 health recovery, and is just a beast when it comes to solo content, barely takes a scratch from enemies, automatically heals to full, and is ridiculously easy to play. Now, in terms of skills on this build, you can really customize it however you want. If you want to make it easy, you can throw on 1 or 2 of the Sorcerer pets, making sure to select the damage-dealing morphs for both of those, combine this with Wall of Elements, and just throw in some heavy attacks. This is what makes the Magicka Sorcerer such a popular and powerful class, especially among beginners. You have so many passive sources of damage, and it's very easy. Now, of course, you can ramp things up by throwing some dots and some additional buffs onto the back bar. But regardless, you will definitely want Hardened Ward as your main damage shield, which also will increase your health recovery when using the right sets. This skill in particular makes the build a very powerful solo setup. Now, speaking of sets here, we've opted for Spinners as our main offensive set, which provides a lot of bonus spell damage, max Magicka and penetration, combined with the Permafrost set from Maelstrom Arena or basically any other health recovery focused set. Now, I personally like Permafrost because it gives you a ton of health recovery whenever your shield is active, turning Hardened Ward into essentially a bonus heal over time skill. And if you can get it, the Gaze of Sithis Mythic from the Blackwood chapter takes this build to a completely different level, helping to nearly max out those resistances, getting even more health recovery. This just provides insane stats in one piece of gear. So if you're looking for something different on the Magsorg, and if you especially want to be able to absorb damage and survive while trying to solo some more difficult content, including dungeons, veteran dungeons, check out this Magicka Sorcerer build. Again, link is in the description. And that brings us to our number 1 solo build for the Elder Scrolls Online, one of my favorite builds that's gotten even more powerful with the latest DLC. That is the Nova Shield Magicka Templar build. Now, this combines 2 really important aspects of soloing in ESO, which I talked about a lot in my last video, which was my top 7 tips for soloing dungeons, and that is self-healing and damage shields. First, as far as self-healing goes, it doesn't get much stronger, honestly, than the Magicka Templar. Of course, you have your main spammable DPS skill, Puncturing Sweep. This heals you back for more health the more damage you do. That by itself is very powerful, but most of our other skills and buffs have a passive healing built right into them as well. This includes our Defensive Rune, our Purifying Ritual, Purifying Light, even our Execute ability has a morph that heals us back. So yeah, Magicka Templar is all about the healing. And for the sets on this build, we've opted to buff that second important aspect of soloing, and that is damage shields. Literally every set we've chosen to use on this build has a built-in damage shield, including our weapon glyph, letting us stack about 30 to 35k in shields passively just by using these sets while in combat. This is crazy. Now, the best damage shield set you'll want to pick up right away is actually new. This is the Hexos Ward set from the Deadlands DLC. The great thing about Hexos is that this is an overland set, so even if you didn't purchase or pick up the DLC, you can still buy this on Guild Traders. We'll also be combining the Prayer Shawl set for another powerful shield that can refresh every 2 seconds. Yes, you heard that right. The fastest shield refresh on any set in the game, along with Ice Heart for even more crit chance and damage shields. Don't forget also that you can buff all of your damage shields, even those derived from sets, by an extra 15% just by using the Bastion CP star that's in the red CP tree. So there you go. Max healing, max shields. Pretty much an I win button for solo players in ESO. Now keep in mind, again, these are just my favorite builds and they are what works best for me. You might have a totally different solo build that works better for you, and if that's the case, let us know down in the comments below. What is your favorite solo build right now in the game? Before you go, don't forget to drop us a like if you enjoyed the video today, subscribe for many more ESO builds and updates, and if you want to support the channel even further, check out our YouTube membership. We actually have even more insane exclusive solo builds in our members-only build library. We've got an unkillable Nightblade build with over 10,000 health recovery, 10,000 plus weapon and spell damage builds for the Templar class, and our most recent members-only build, the Barbarian, which was a theory-crafted challenge to create a build with 0 class skills that actually turned out a lot stronger than I thought it would. So if any of those sound interesting to you and you want to support the channel, click on that join button down below for more information. And as always, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you're doing well. Stay safe out there, and I will see you around in the next video.